I remember the flight.
911, what's your emergency?
I remember flying around.
Saw him hit the ground hard.
And then that's the last thing I remember.
Dispatch, requesting medevac at scene. Please stand by. We'll give you the information we have as soon as possible.
I think she could have a big game against the Chanticleers.
Rininger fouled, and it's good.
Ashley Rininger Scott was a standout player for Liberty women's basketball.
And Ashley Rininger, in the right place at the right time, picks up a steal and a nice bucket off the glass.
Finishing her college career ranked near the top of the school's all-time leaders in rebounds, blocked shots, and points.
And Rininger, nice looking shot inside.
My time at Liberty helped kind of just grow me as a person, grow me in my faith, and just build a really strong foundation for me to just continue moving forward in life.
And they're giving an address again as 6402 North Central.
Ashley is now a detective with the Cleveland, Ohio Police Department, and she works out of the 4th District, an area of Cleveland that's considered to be the most dangerous.
A mass shooting here in Cleveland capped off a violent night across Northeast Ohio.
I have a code 1 shot fired.
Ashley currently serves as an investigator on the Violent Crimes Task Force, an area of law enforcement that's quickly becoming her specialty.
Specifically, dealing with a lot of shootings and a lot of robberies involving guns.
We have 2 victims of GSWs and 3 more victims.
I really enjoyed just the ability to help people, to kind of enter into like some of the most crisis of situations.
Black jacket, gray sweater, jeans, armed with a gun.
To be able to arrest people that are harming others.
The call of the person shot came in at...
When Ashley's not making the streets safer for the people of Cleveland, you can find her and her husband Gabe in some of the most picturesque places on Earth.
We are definitely outdoors people. Yeah, that's probably one of the most common ways that we like to spend time together. With her job being very demanding, she really looks forward to planning trips, and usually like national parks are part of that.
In October of 2023, the couple would hit the road for another planned adventure. This time, the destination would be the stunning and uniquely diverse terrain of the Western U.S.
When we travel, we like to look for not necessarily extreme activities, but things that are kind of more thrilling.
We saw that there's an area that is really well known for paragliding and hang gliding.
Point of the Mountain Flight Park in Draper, Utah, is considered by flyers to be one of the top destinations in North America for the sport.
It was very busy. I was really shocked at how many people gathered on this hillside.
And once Gabe and Ashley began speaking with the instructors, the couple quickly learned they had an issue.
There was a weight limit.
Gabe was grounded, but Ashley would fly tandem with seasoned flight instructor Joshua Ellison.
I remember the flight. It was a beautiful day. It was perfectly blue sky, not a cloud in sight, and like you could see for miles and miles across the valley. It was beautiful. And we were so high up in the air. So it was simultaneously like frightening and also like really cool at the same time. After about 20 minutes of flying, he said, okay, like it's time, we're gonna start heading towards landing.
Another gentleman in a hang glider, he got really close to them.
We started kind of coming closer to the ground towards where we were gonna land.
Somehow he got kind of turned into their parachute line. And then his hang glider actually collapsed their parachute lines. It tangled them together.
That's the last thing I remember.
And they spiraled.
What happened?
A hang glider slide with a paraglider.
Turned around, heard a yell, saw him hit the ground hard. It was hard.
Initially, I was shocked that they just fell out of the sky. A whole group of us started to kind of run over to the site, and all 3 of them were sort of tangled in this sort of mess. I ran straight over to Ashley, and she was actually just unresponsive at the time. They sent a medical helicopter to the hillside. They had the team of EMTs that came over with a stretcher board, and we had to load her up. She was still breathing and stuff, but clearly like really shocked and hurt. And I think that's where I started to get really worried of like, what's gonna happen now? And like, what does this mean?
The next memory that I have is waking up in the hospital. I have no idea what happened, but I remember that I was paragliding right before this, so it's like I would assume it has to do with that.
The surgeon informs Gabe that Ashley will need emergency surgery to repair her fractured spine, and she may have severed her spinal cord.
He explained to me, he's like, I can't promise that she's not gonna be paralyzed. And I said, okay, like, do whatever you have to do.
For the next 5 hours, Gabe would patiently wait and update friends and family on Ashley's condition. It was during this time he would learn that the instructor, 44-year-old Joshua Ellison, had died from injuries sustained at the accident.
That's when I felt like the wind had got knocked out of me. And I think I did a lot of praying, a lot of just like, I'm like, God, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why it happened here and now. I'm thankful that she's still alive and we can handle whatever comes.
The surgery to repair Ashley's spine was a success, and surgeons concluded that there was no damage to her spinal cord. But Ashley would need several more surgeries before a full recovery could begin.
I had broken the pelvis in 5 different places, and they had to wait, I think it was 24 hours before they could do surgery on that. So in addition to the spine and the pelvis, I dislocated my right shoulder, I dislocated my sternum, I tore my rotator cuff and labrum in my left shoulder. I had internal bleeding in my kidneys and liver. I had both of my lungs collapse. The first couple of days in the hospital, I just remember being just overwhelmingly thankful to still be alive and thankful that I wasn't going to be paralyzed.
Over the next 4 weeks, Gabe and Ashley would live in Utah.
Good.
And besides visits from close friends and family, the couple would rely on the generosity and support from local first responders and law enforcement.
They visited us in the hospital, just complete strangers. And so a lot of my needs outside of her being in the hospital, but a place to stay, a vehicle, those were actually provided through other officers in the area.
5. That was excellent.
Once discharged from the hospital, Ashley would still need 24-hour care at a skilled nursing facility. And the couple would be eager to begin those next steps of recovery at home in Ohio. But this would require a medical jet with the medical staff on board, and the availability plus the cost seemed impossible.
We were telling all of our family and friends, we're like, just pray that somehow God can bring someone who can provide this.
And just days before Ashley was scheduled to be discharged, the couple's prayers would be answered.
It was a group called Jet ICU. They got in touch with us, and I mean, we just started crying. I read the text and I'm like, I think we have a flight home.
At the time, my pelvis, my back, everything was so sensitive. And so I just remember at first being really, really uncomfortable, but they did a fantastic job of taking care of me.
Once back in Ohio, Ashley would spend several weeks in a skilled nursing home and then transition to a rehab facility before finally making it back to the couple's home. A home Ashley hadn't seen in nearly 2 months.
It was just such a blessing to be back home, to no longer have beeping machines while I'm trying to sleep.
I quickly had to learn how to be a caretaker, whether it be helping her in and out of bed, getting dressed, getting food, I mean, so many needs. She felt like she was a big burden, she felt kind of guilty that she wasn't able to do a lot on her own, but I'm like, we will get there again.
I just remember looking at my body and being like, I think it should be able to move. My entire life, I've been physically able-bodied, I've been extremely active, very athletic, never had to think anything about being able to just move and do whatever I wanted to do.
That's also been a blessing to see the kind of recovery that she's made, knowing how limited she was and how much her body was just traumatically injured.
And exactly 1 year after the accident, Ashley and Gabe would hit the road again and travel back to Utah.
We called it our victory lap. We got to say, hey, I can actually walk into and out of the hospital now, and last time I was still in a wheelchair. We got to thank everyone that helped us. They had never seen me really stand up, So as I walked in to greet all of them and to thank them, they were very surprised at how tall I was. These are the cards that we received while we were in the hospital in Utah.
It had a dog in it.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
I think I've found that even in like difficult times and even in circumstances that you don't really want to go through, God is still good and he's still providing every step of the way.
This one has a special offer inside. You can see the reality of what it means to walk by faith when you are brought really, really low, when you feel like it's no longer your own strength, your own capability, your own, resources. The way that God met our needs can only be explained by his miraculous power in our lives.
While we might not understand it, and I don't think we ever will, we can trust that God is going to use us for his glory. We can trust that he's still faithful, even when life is hard.